so wonderful to see everyone here. So glad you're here. My name is Zon Eastes, and I'm here with my friends in the orchestra, and we're here today to talk to you about a wonderful piece called Peter and the Wolf. So, but first, before we show you the piece and have you listen to the piece, I want to just talk with you for a few minutes. I want to find out who's been in the Latchis before. Raise your hand if you've been here. Fantastic. Isn't this a great space? Look at all the signs up top, the ceiling and everything. It's wonderful, yeah. We'd like to thank the folks at the Latchis for welcoming us here so that we can do this concert here. It's really good. So thank you for your We'd also like to acknowledge and thank Lyle Holliday for her involvement. She's the superintendent of the school system here. So thank you, Lyle. Thank you very much. Lyle is retiring at the end of this year, and she's been a really wonderful supporter of this Music in the Schools program. So we'd like to thank her very, very much. What I'd like to do before we present the music to you today, the concert, is I'd like to introduce to you the orchestra. A lot of you probably have seen an orchestra before, but maybe some of you haven't. So we're just going to talk it through and give everybody a chance to get to know a little bit about the orchestra. Just like everybody in this room, we are part of a community. This is a community of instruments, just like you're a community in Brattleboro, you're a community, or wherever you come from, you're a community in your school. You also come from a family. Our instruments are put together in families. And so we'd like to introduce to you and talk for a minute about the different families of the orchestra. The thing about families, there are lots of things about families, but some things about families are they come in very different sizes, the people in the families. You can see a great big double bass over here. Jamie is such a big instrument that you have to stand up to play the double bass, all right? And we have very small instruments. The smallest is probably Ben, has castanets. You hold them in your hand, and they make a little tiny clicking noise. There we go, yeah. Big and small, various sizes. We also have various ages of instruments. We have, for instance, Jean has a French horn that was made just last year. And she got it just recently. We also have violins over in the first violin section. The oldest instrument here in the orchestra was made in 1756, before Vermont was even a state. That's Moby's instrument. Yeah. And 3 of the violins in the first violin section come from Italy. And they were all made before 1800. 3 of those instruments. So we have some very old members of our orchestra in our family. We also have various shapes of instruments. You can look, for instance, at the flute, Allison's flute, which is a very just straight instrument with lots of wonderful keys that give all the amazing notes that we'll hear. But you can also look at the violin, for instance, Kathy's violin, which is a very curly-Q, very beautiful shape with a bow that she uses. So she has 2 parts to her instrument, as do all the string players. We also come, just like all of us, we come in all different colors. We have the timpani, for instance, the way big kettle drums in the back, maybe you can't see it, but on the top they have very, very white skins, actually animal skins, that are used to make the timpani. And then we have very, very ranging in different colors in the string instruments are all sorts of beautiful brown colors. We even have some black instruments. The clarinet, the oboe are very, very dark instruments. And those are because they made from the different kinds of woods or the different kinds of animal skins, but they all come in all these different kinds of colors. So they also, in our orchestra, we also have different kinds of voices. If you think about your classroom or one of the ways we recognize people in our family or our friends is by their voice. We know who they are. So we'd like to introduce to you what we call the family voices. So we're going to start with the woodwinds. There are 4 woodwinds, the flute, the oboe, the clarinet, and the bassoon, and they're going to just play a little bit together so you can hear how woodwinds sound. Bravo. Good. So those are the woodwind instruments. They're called woodwinds because, well, most of them are made of wood. The flute is made of metal nowadays, but when it was invented, it was first made of wood. So that's the woodwind family. Now we are going to go over to the brass family. I'll ask them to hold up, yeah, look at this. We have horn players, 3 of them, a trumpet player, and a trombone. Can you all see them? All right, and they're going to play a little bit so you can hear what the brass family sounds like. Then we'd like to introduce to you the percussion family. And I didn't say that one of the things that happens a lot of times in families, there are members in families or in groups that can be very soft-spoken, and there are some that can be quite a bit louder. And we thank the percussion instruments for their ability to really produce an amazing sound. So they're going to show you we've got all sorts of instruments over here. We can't show you them all, but we'll give you a taste of the percussion instruments here. Show you is the biggest family in most orchestras. It's the one with the most people in it. It's the string family. And so we're going to show you a piece here that we're going to play. So listen up here. All right? Statistically, that maybe there's somebody in the room here today who has a birthday. Is there somebody with a birthday? Stand up. Any birthdays in here today? Oh, we got one. All right. There's one in the back there. All right, well, so this is for you. Happy birthday to you. And there's your sign up here on the sky, the Pisces, right? We think that's Pisces anyway. Yeah, I think that's good. All right. We're all up here on the ceiling. We all get to be up on the ceiling. All right. Okay, so we're just about ready to start. What we're going to talk about here today is this wonderful story called Peter and the Wolf. It's been created by a Russian composer whose name is Sergei Prokofiev. Sergei Prokofiev. And he wrote this story to enliven your imagination. We have, in order to present this story today, we have an orchestra that will help produce all the musical colors for you. I'm going to introduce a narrator in just a second, so he can help us know the story. What we don't have are all the pictures that go on with the story, and that's what happens in your mind. And that's why you're here today, to make the story happen in your mind, in your imagination. All of us together will make this story. You, folks in the audience, and me, we're the only ones that don't get to make any noise during this performance. I'll be up there conducting, but I won't make any noise. I'm supposed to be entirely quiet, as are you, while we do the show. And then when it's all over, we want you to, of course, applaud like it's wonderful. All right? We'll just hope it's all wonderful. So, in order for us to tell the story first, I'm going to introduce the narrator, and then we have one more thing to do after that. Our narrator today is James Gelter. And the last thing that has to happen for an orchestra to be able to do its work is it needs to tune. and get itself organized. These are a lot of different instruments. Every one of them plays a little bit differently, but we all come together and focus on our tuning, and then we can get started and tell the story. So here we go.
This is the story of Peter and the Wolf. Each character is represented by a different part of the orchestra. For instance, our hero Peter is represented by the strings. His friend, the bird, is played by the flute. There is a duck portrayed by the oboe. You'll know that the cat is around when you hear the clarinet. Peter has a grandfather, played by the bassoon. The big, nasty wolf appears to the fanfare of 1, 2, 3 French horns. When you hear their gunshots represented by the timpani and snare drum. Now that you know our characters, we will begin our story. Early one morning, Peter opened up the gate and went out on a big green meadow. On the branch of a big tree sat a little bird. "All is quiet," chirped the bird. duck came waddling around. She was glad that Peter had kept the gate open and decided to take a nice swim in the deep pond in the meadow. Duck. The little bird flew down upon the grass, settled next to the duck, and shrugged her shoulders. "What kind of a bird are you that can't fly?" said the bird. "What kind of a bird are you that can't swim?" replied the duck, and she dived into the pond. They argued and argued, the duck swimming in the pond, the little bird hopping along the shore. Suddenly, something caught Peter's attention. He noticed a cat crawling through the gates. The cat thought, "The bird is busy. I'll just grab her." Stealthily, she crept towards him on velvet paws. Shouted Peter, and the bird immediately flew up into the tree. While the duck quacked angrily at the cat. From the middle of the pond. The cat crawled around the tree and thought, "Is it worth climbing up so high? By the time I get up there, the bird will have flown away." Grandpa came out. He was angry because Peter had gone into the meadow. "It is a dangerous place. If a wolf should come out, what would you do then?" twisted his grandfather's words, boys such as he are not afraid of wolves. But grandfather took Peter by the hand, led him home, and locked the gate. No sooner had Peter gone than a big gray wolf came out of the forest. In a twinkling, the cat climbed up the tree. The duck quacked, and in her excitement jumped out of the pond. No matter how fast the duck tried to run, she couldn't escape the wolf. It was getting nearer, nearer, catching up with her. And he got her, and in one gulp swallowed her. Now this is how things stood. The cat was sitting on a branch. The bird on another. too close to the cat. And the wolf walked around and around the tree, looking up at them with greedy eyes. In the meantime, Peter, without any fear, stood behind the closed gate, watching all that was going on. He ran home, took a long, strong rope, and climbed up the stone wall. One of the branches of the tree around which the wolf was walking stretched out over the wall. Grabbing a hold of a branch, Peter lightly climbed over and onto the tree. Peter said to the bird, "Fly down and circle around the wolf's head. Only take care he doesn't catch you." The bird almost touched the wolf's head with her wings, while the wolf snapped angrily at her from this way and that. How the bird did worry the wolf. He wanted to catch her, but the bird was clever, and the wolf simply couldn't do anything about it. Meanwhile, Peter made a lasso, carefully letting it down. Caught the wolf by the tail and pulled with all his might. Feeling himself caught, the wolf began to jump wildly, trying to get loose.
But Peter tied the other end of the rope to the tree. And the wolf's jumping only made the rope get tighter around his tail. Just then, the hunters came out of the woods. Following the wolf's trail and shooting as they went. But Peter, sitting in the tree, said, "Don't shoot! Birdie and I have already caught the wolf. Now help us take him to the zoo." And now, imagine the triumphal procession.
Peter at the head. After him, the hunters leading the wolf. procession,
Grandfather and the cat. Grandfather tossed his head discontentedly. Well, and if Peter hadn't caught the wolf, what then?
above them the birds chirped merrily. My, what fine ones we are, Peter and I. Look what we've caught. And if one would listen carefully, you could hear the duck quacking in the wolf's belly, because the wolf in his hurry had swallowed her whole.